Welcome to the One-on-One Podcast with your host, Juan Ayala.
Welcome back to another episode. It's probably a swapcast. I don't know what this is going to be, but here we are. What's up, boys? We got the Cult of Conspiracy boys with us. How you guys doing? It's been a little minute since we last got together and had a little chat.
Awesome, man. We love talking with you because it's nice to be around other conspiracy theorists with that third eye all the way open is what we like to say. But how you been, brother?
I've been okay. So for those tuning in, we did get demonetized off YouTube. So if you're listening to this anywhere, I don't know where, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/the One-on-One Podcast. Support the show because they are trying to. So I was always called a Fed, right? You always get called a Fed whenever you have like a certain audience. Hey, would a Fed get demonetized? I think not.
That's a good point. I get called a Fed all the time because I'm just the resident stick in the mud when it comes to certain topics. I'm down with a lot of conspiracies. There's some that I have no problem pointing the finger at and being like, okay, that's kind of here.
Dude,
clearly I'm the Fed. Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about conspiracies because there are some conspiracies that are retarded and dumb. And here's the thing about this. The community, if you want to call it that, there is a lot of people in reality tunnels. And my issue, and Jonathan was asking me like, oh, TikTok. The reason I stopped doing green screens, one of the reasons was because my green screens were not so much me pushing my ideas of like what I think about the subject, but it was like I would present both sides, right? The problem with that is, to let people speculate, right? And then they start typing on the comments, calling you a dumbass or whatever it is that they do. The commenters always know best. Yeah. But my issue with it is that I was promoting some conspiracies, right? And I believe that there are people who are truly sick who listen to our shows to get a confirmation bias. And somehow, if I'm going to complain about conspiracies being dumb and stupid, but I am spreading conspiracies at the same time, that makes me a hypocrite. And
well, that's the right way to go right there, though. Like, you have to present all sides. And that's something that we learned along the way, too, because, like it or not, things get turned into cults all the time. And people start thinking that, the group that they're involved in, they're absolutely 100% correct about every single little thing. And you have to present both sides. You have to weigh both sides and maybe even a third side if you can think of one to add in there. But like, you can't just go full on, oh, you don't believe in flat earth, you're a Fed. It's like, maybe, it's like the truther community is more than just one thought form. It's supposed to be open-minded. It's not supposed to be narrow-minded. So if you're a flat earther and you're calling everybody who isn't a flat earther a Fed or something like that, then it seems like you've joined a cult.
Which is why I actually refer to the flat earth community in more of a cult-like way. I'm not saying every single person who believes in the flat earth is a member of a cult. No, there's defining lines between the two, right? There's somebody who has found some information and it jives with what they believe in, and there's some rabbit holes they've gone down and they have a belief. All right, dope. That's fine. Good things. But then you have the people that take it on as if it's like a new religion. And once you understand it, your whole perspective changes. And it's like, all right, that now we're delving into the cult-like side of things because it's even being a conspiracy head. All right, yes, granted, once you understand the government is doing everything they can to you, yes, your perspective does change a bit. It doesn't change you clocking into work Monday morning. It doesn't change you parenting your child when they come home with an F on a test. You see what I'm saying? It's
but
like,
Jacob,
not
it's flat.
Everything changes.
It's flat, dude. It's meant to make you feel insignificant in the voidness of space that's also fake and gay and all this other stuff. But yeah, you still got to clock in at 7 a.m. sharp. you gotta make sure to be there on time, brother. Like, it's, and here's the thing, dude. And in Hermeticism, there's something known as sleepers, right? The sleepers, which are those that haven't achieved or obtained the gnosis to be awakened, right? To be gnosis is this enigmatic thing that you achieve, that you acquire through, again, research and reading, but we don't really know how you get it. You just get it and then you transcend, right? You're supposed to leave the sleepers alone because they're supposed to find their own way. You're not supposed to push it upon them and try and wake them up. They're going to find their way. And it feels like a lot of these ideas, and it's not just flat earth, like there's a ton. The other one is the one where all the chicks in Hollywood are dudes and all the dudes are chicks.
Okay.
There's a lot of trannies out there, according to us.
Then I'm gay because I think Megan Fox is hot, right? I'm gay.
I mean, she's a little weird, but for the people that are saying that she's like a man, I mean, look, there's this whole meme going on around Jennifer Aniston, right? Yeah. Because Barry was allegedly hooking up with her behind Big Mike's back. And so could it be possible that she is a man? Then you start to see the Adam's apple, the more broader shoulders, a little peach fuzz on the face. Look, I mean, some women just start to look a little bit different whenever they get older. Everybody does. It's not even just a woman thing. It's like not everybody's always going to be 120 pounds and looking like they're 21.
Can we also acknowledge that that's also a massive step up for Barack Obama? You're leaving Big Mike for Jennifer Aniston, man or not? Like, yo, that's taking some that's player moves there, my boy.
You mean this one has 2 holes?
Whoa. No, even if she has a dick. Even if that's the case, that's still a come up.
Hey, dude.
Double entendre on that one.
If you're into chicks with dicks, hey, you're into what you're into, dude. Like, I have no problems with that. But again, you got to let people live their life. But that's another one that's almost on par with the whole flat earth group, because it's like this hive mind. In my opinion, if you're the one that is in my DMs, in my reviews, in my email, in my comments and all that stuff, NASA's not in my comments and in my DMs telling me that it's a globe. It's you who's telling me the opposite. So the more you tell me it's flat, the less I'm going to believe, because you're being pushy as You ever see those pictures of Judas like all up against Jesus, and Jesus like, bro, back the up, man.
He gave him a little kiss before he died, though, right? It was like the kiss of death, or the scorpion kiss, or some people say.
So, yeah. I think Judas might have been a little gay for Jesus.
He was also just kind of a piece of. There's multiple examples of that one in the Gospels, but
But again, that whole thing of like, hey, man, give me some room to breathe, and I will look into it. And bro, we've looked into it. Your podcast is literally the cult of conspiracy. You guys talk about this all the time. But again, I feel like some people are sick and they listen to the show and they go, I want my confirmation bias confirmed. And when you don't confirm their bias, that's when you become a Fed. Wait a minute. You just agreed with me a couple of minutes ago when I was saying what you wanted me to say. But as soon as I present a more logical perspective or a different perspective, which this is what this is all about, looking at things from a different perspective, right? Why is that then a problem?
Look, the thing is that, anything that you do just because your group deems it correct or right or necessary, you're not making your own action. You're not making your own move. You are a follower at that point, and you haven't been able to look at things subjectively without being swayed one way or another. And that's the opposite of opening up your third eye. We always tell everybody, like, we have our opinions for sure. And most of the time our opinions are differing. Like me and Jacob, we disagree on a lot of stuff, which, I think is important for the conspiracy realm. That way you don't form that echo chamber and you don't have a bunch of people coming to listen just because they agree with every word that you say. You're not learning that way. You need to have a little bit of, yin and yang. And, if that bothers some people, it's like political cults. Oh, my president said this, and that's what I'm going to follow, and he said it, so it must be good. Well, it's like, we can sit over here and praise Trump all day. Like, I love what we're seeing out of Doge and all of the people that are being put into place, but to absolutely just blindly follow the guy that just created a AI thing. No,
Yeah.
I don't like. I'm not 100%
What are you
bought
talking
in
about?
on that. He created, or he is working with the crypto and AI people to create personalized AI for each individual.
Saying, look, Musk, for instance, I love what he is uncovering with Doge. Yes, 100%. He is still a crazy, right? And he is still trying. We cannot take away the quantum computers that he is dealing with. We can't sidestep the AI that he is trying to get involved with. It's like he's still a chaotic neutral. He is still just, he could wake up tomorrow and decide he's a supervillain, and there's nothing stopping him from doing that. Like, just because he's doing good right now doesn't mean he's the greatest guy ever. We've said that about Trump a million times. Yeah, he's doing great things right now. He's still a piece of greaseball businessman from New York City. Like, that hasn't gone anywhere.
Right. So it's just dangerous to blindly follow. You know, we got to keep everybody, you know, in check and make sure you keep the receipts and like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, dude, I know that some people were like, well, he had to create the COVID, or else the deep state was going to create something worse. And maybe that's the case. Of course, you had Kamala Harris and Joe Biden saying, I'm not going to take a Trump. And then as soon as they get in office, they're pushing. So maybe something was changed. We don't know. You know, like, there's no way of knowing these kind of things. I just don't vaccinate. You know, it's just pretty simple for me.
Yeah, how the famous and wise Kanye West said one time, he said, I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies, right? Because nowadays, this is news to me, that whole AI stuff. I'm trying to look it up here, and I'm not having my AI-powered. Bro, what?
Yeah. Oh, also, when you're talking about Yeezus himself, we got to keep in mind, this is the same guy that after Katrina said, George Bush doesn't care about black people. Right now, he is selling swastika T-shirts. That's Kanye selling these things,
and allows his woman to go out. I'm not going to be a bigot and say that he allows his woman to dress.
No, I'll say it.
He's like going out in public with his nude woman,
Some
who is
dudes
damn near a spitting image of Kim Kardashian.
After he just dropped a gospel album 3 years ago.
Okay. See, the stuff of her looking like Kardashian, that's weird. And also, it doesn't matter, though, because all the Kardashians are men anyways. But also, I
don't know. I seen the video of Ray J. At one point in time, Kim K had a vajage. I don't know about the one walking right now.
Bro, the testes are on the inside. Whatever. I was gonna say, John, some dudes like being cucked. Like, some dudes want other dudes to look at their chick, and like they get off on that, right? So maybe he likes that. It's the world of Hollywood, bro. You don't think they're swinging and they're doing all this other stuff? So hey, that she's naked and showing her body to the whole world, that ain't nothing to him, bro.
Speaking of Hollywood,
an attention whore. There's no doubt about that.
100%.
Look at what Cash Patel is doing right now. Just got confirmed today, and he said that on day one, he was going to be releasing the entire Diddy list and the entire Epstein list. Now, we're still on that 24-hour clock to see if that's going to come through to fruition or not, but he is on record saying that was going to go down the second he gets in the office. So we shall see.
Which is a confirmation from Q from years ago.
Oh, here we go. Oh, dude. Q.
Hey, look, I'm not a Q-tard by any means. I'm just saying they were right about some, and Cash Patel.
You know what I think Q is, bro?
Let's go there.
Q is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, right? Because first of all, I have no idea what they're talking about, but usually when they go, you see, Q had already referenced this, and they reference some message from like 3 years ago on like some forum that kind of sort of resembles what they're trying to confirm. You see, he had it right here, and it's like, bro.
No, I get it. Some of them are definitely stretches, but the Cash Patel one is especially strange, because what people will do, because they look at the QAnon drops as like little breadcrumbs, down the rabbit hole, like prophecy essentially, or somebody's a psychic or somebody has a looking glass. I don't know what the is going on. Maybe it was
traveler.
Could have just been a plan all along. Who knows? But in regards to Cash Patel, dude, the day that he gets like put into that position was the same date that they made the Q post of telling people about Cash Patel. So it was like, I don't know what, well, I don't even know what today's date is or yesterday or whatever it was.
Today's the 21st.
But yeah, okay, so the 21st. I think that actual drop was on February 21st of like 2017, 18 or something like that.
Bro, what? 2017? Listen, man, listen. If the big conspiracy that there's this cabal ruling everything and that there's all these people in power and they like to kids and they like to do all this stuff behind closed door, right? Like all these guys running the world, running reality itself.
Yeah.
But yet a group of schizos are able to piece it together from some forum posts about, bro, I could be Q. You know what I've thought about doing sometimes?
You want to get canceled? Keep that up, man. You got demonetized off of YouTube.
Fuck
Keep saying
YouTube. Listen, bro. I've thought sometimes about just making shit up and just posting it on the internet just to see where it goes. Just to see some crazy story. Like anyone can make up a story about an alien abduction. Let's be real. Like anyone can make that up. Stephen Greer is just, or Steve Greer, whatever his name is. That dude's probably an alien. He's just famous for talking about it. Bob Lazar, like the Bledsoe stuff is kind of weird too, like that whole thing. And it's like sometimes, bro, I think that a lot of this stuff that we consume, it's cool, right? It's cool. It's fun to think about, but it might be, you know what I'm saying? Like this Cash Patel guy, that's a dead man walking if he's gonna, and perfect example. So I've had this developing new theory that within the occult, right? And everyone knows that Crowley was an agent. We know that John Dee was the original 007. If we stick to that sort of thinking, the most powerful information that you could have on anybody is blackmail. They don't care if you can summon Cthulhu himself. I can be like, yo, I can summon Cthulhu and I can do it. They're not going to care. But as soon as you say that, hey, I have the Diddy list and the Epstein list, oh, they're going to come for you because that's the true, real information. So in my opinion, I think that the occult and a lot of these other things that are connected to it, it's more about espionage. And now in the occult terms, I think that a lot of the occult stuff and the initiates in these circles was about the passing of information, real information like blackmail, in an occulted way, in a shrouded way. And only those who could read it could pull the information out. The guy who created the modern day cryptography, Trimethius, he wrote a book about how to communicate with angels. But it was actually a book about how to hide codes within a text that looks like a regular text. But he teaches you how to pick it up. That's the secret society.
But then you also, like you said, there's a lot of it that's entertainment, right? Or at least like you could hear these crazy, fantastical stories about things and you can take it as entertainment. But then you also have people that take it as this is clearly facts, right? Like, look at old Billy Carson, right? Yeah. He got high on his own supply way too many times and then went up to bat against a real one and got shut the down. Then he did everything wrong possible, but he's like, okay, fine, maybe he was wrong about the Bible, but he's clearly right about the Sumerian tablets and the scrolls. And it's like, no, you understand he's equally as validated in those things as he was saying about this. Same thing with like Bob Lazar is another example of that. And I'm not saying he's full of shit by any means, but some of his story checks out. Some of his story, not so much. Richard Greer. What's that other guy that's always on Rogan, the dude with the British accent?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He
had a debate between him and an archaeologist who's like an actual
Graham Hancock.
That's the one. Yeah. Graham Hancock. He's entertaining. He's entertaining to listen to 100%. But like any actual historian would be able to dissect it very quickly, right?
He theorizes a lot too. It's not that he's saying that like he's looking back and he's looking back at certain comets and asteroids that were possibly coming here, and I love those kind of people because instead of just saying, oh well, here's the facts and I don't have an imagination or a curiosity as to how it happened or anything because it hasn't been confirmed in science, doesn't necessarily make him just an entertainer. He could just be a theorizer. I mean,
that's storyteller.
Same thing. Storytelling is entertainment. Theorizing is entertainment, unless you're trying to apply the scientific method.
But it's just modern day thinking man at that point.
But here's the thing: some people no matter what information you present to them, they're not going to care if it's coming from a mainstream source, even if it's right, because they want to be against the mainstream source no matter what. So you can present to them the information and they will completely deny it only because it comes from a mainstream source. But if they get it from somebody like Graham Hancock, hey man, you know, a lot of the stuff that he's saying makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But the mainstream, and I'm not saying the mainstream could be right. I think that they have a lot of things wrong. But the mainstream says this. You think that, the Egyptians levitating the rocks into place is pretty crazy, right? Yeah, that's crazy. But also is the idea that they might have used a ramp to put up the stones up at the pyramid. That's ludicrous. That's wild. Like, bro, what? You just said that they levitated the stones in place. Right. But the fact that they could have had a ramp, that's even crazier to suggest. You're smoking some bro. Like,
anything is possible with that. You know, I've heard the whole the levitation via, what was it, like sound frequency or something like that,
or magnets, and like that. There is some weight to be held with that. We can, in fact, levitate objects and make water defy gravity with sound waves. Like, there is that kernel of truth there, and I've given the credence for it. We also know that Egypt had a massive slave population for like over a millennia. So I mean, I'm with you on that, but it's also the fact that we still don't know how the Great Pyramids were built or who built them. There's records to say that, well, this person did it, but they actually predate those written records and those hieroglyphs. And so that's because there's no concrete evidence to say one or another, that leaves it open to the interpretation, which again, it's fun to theorize and fun to bounce back ideas. But then you have these people that take that to the nth degree on either side of that argument, and then they start belittling the other side for having differing beliefs. And it's like, okay, that's not even entertaining to listen to. You know,
I don't think that there's any problem in coming up with your own theories, but whenever you call somebody a idiot or a fed or, you know, retarded or something like that because they don't believe what you believe, who's learning from that at that point? Like, if you're calling me a fed or somebody stupid and you're trying to present a point to me, I'm going to neglect your opinion out of spite, not because I've looked into it, but now I'm just looking into you and the fruit is spoiled. And if that fruit is spoiled, I'm not looking into it. I really don't care. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
That's why I like having I think debates are really gay. Like, can you imagine wanting to convince another man like how you think and what you think and why you think it and try to change their mind? That's kind of gay. Like, you want to kiss them too, bro? Like, I think that I like having conversations. Have a conversation and just talk it out and present your ideas, and that's it. And if at the end of the day you don't change your mind, again, the sleeper aspect, they're gonna find their way eventually if it is. But these people, how you're saying, they go it's like the craziest thing. And the fact that we even have ideas, right? Like, the concept of an idea is even wild. If you really, where do ideas even come from? Are they even your ideas, right? Probably right. They come from this area and you're just like, man, that made sense. Or I just got this crazy idea. Where it just like manifests from like another dimension into this reality. And then you take that and you do other things with it. Belief systems are crazy to me. Like, all that stuff is crazy to me. And the way that people attach themselves to it. It's almost like the human experience is, wanting to associate with something. And it's been like that throughout all of history that we know of. And my issue is, the first 48, this show, where it's modern day, they can't even figure out who the hell murdered a person. But yet you're going to tell me that you figured out who built the pyramids and how they built it?
You got to take a lot of that on faith at that point. I mean, at a certain point, you got to say, you know what? I don't know 100%, but it's my working theory. Like, but to be so sure that everybody else is stupid as a result of that, it's like you're missing the entire point. But that being said, I will say that I do love flat earthers, and I do love, other conspiracies and theories out there. I may not agree with them, but I think that they are actually pretty important. For example, I mean, if it wasn't for, my rabbit hole dive into flat Earth initially, I don't know if the cult of conspiracy would have ever been created. It was because
Really,
I
dude?
found the concept
Wow.
so amazing. It was the first conspiracy that I really looked into and latched onto. And not gonna lie, dude, I was addicted to that. I was going, they have this live YouTube channel for Flat Earth 24/7. And I was just like, I'm not watching the Steelers today. I'm not watching, wrestling or whatever I would normally watch. Like, I'm watching this. And I just found it so fascinating, not necessarily because it's true. I mean, I played with the idea of what if it is true. But what it does is that it allows you to shift perspective. And that's what I think is the most important part about all conspiracies. Because, I mean, think about it. Most of our lives, we go through it assuming that we're pretty much correct about everything. Like, and you kind of have to have that attitude, right? Like, whenever you're driving, you have to be sure about every turn that you're going to make. If you're merging into a lane, you have to be sure that you're right about certain things. And so after a while, your brain just starts to imagine, well, I'm sure in, the concept of the world and the reality that we live in, I know what it is, and therefore nobody can tell me what it isn't. And that's a dangerous place to be. So whenever you do have flat earthers or the Tartaria people or the Epstein flight log people or the QAnon, whatever, these are literally like they are hammers to like corroded pineal glands, in my opinion.
But it also, I think, depends on. I'm with you. I'm with you to that. And to be honest, I have never heard this story about how flat Earth is the reason why the cult of conspiracy was birthed. So Juan, I don't know if you know this. This show existed for about 6 months before I came on, right? And so it was Jonathan and a buddy, his hat, and they were running it, and it was fun, good things. Me and him got together, and it just kind of blossomed into what it is today, slowly but surely.
You guys are a
grinding it
beautiful
out.
couple, by the way.
It's a great thing. We discovered accidentally that we were like, did we catch lightning in a bottle? Because he and I are so different, but we also jive on these important topics, but are so different in others. And it's like, is this what we're doing now, bro? And so it worked out, right? Jonathan, I had no idea that flat Earth was your big one, right? So for me, it was growing up in a household where JFK's assassination was being discussed at the dinner table of how that was. Right. The first conspiracy that I on my own started digging into was 9/11. I was a freshman in high school and I first heard something about how there was a conspiracy behind this. And I'm like, wait, what? That was a thing that just shattered my existence. I still went and joined the military over it, though, because, war is good. I'm just saying it's the only system that works. Like over and over again, the only thing that settles differences on a large scale is bloodshed. I don't like it, but I'm just happy to live in the country that runs that shit.
Spoken like a true Fed.
Yes, exactly. For that reason, why he thinks Jacob's a Fed. Exactly what I was getting ready to say.
But I also don't want wars just for no reason. Yeah,
I'm going to be interviewing this guy this week. But Jonathan, where do you stand with the flat Earth? My issue isn't with flat Earth; it's with flat earthers and the way that they portray their ideas. Very obnoxious and just annoying. But where do you stand with it?
Because they're always on the defense. I've had to learn that too. They are always defending their beliefs against people who are calling them idiots. It's very rare that you'll meet a flat earther that will conversate about it.
I have 2 or 3 that are like that.
There's only a few.
One of them.
Who?
Josh Monday is one of them that you can talk to, have a regular conversation with about flat Earth, and I love that.
Yeah, but most of them,
his confirmation comes from certain Bible interpretation,
and that's a problem too, because then they take religion, and then you get conspiracies that clump in. Like the latest one I've seen is like the Little Season theory and Tartaria getting all, and flat Earth get all put, because all the resurrected saints live in the North Pole, and that's why you can't go. So it's taken Tartaria, Little Season, and flat Earth, and just like boom, put it like that, and it's like they got like the holy grail of conspiracies in their head, and they've got it all figured out. But what are you now, Johnny? Like, do you believe globe? Do you believe hollow? I'm a hollow earther, dude.
And this sounds like a crazy theory, but it has been confirmed by multiple sources within,
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube and TikTok has confirmed it. No, I'm just kidding. But like, if you look back at a lot of the old CIA papers that, they were allowing to come out over the past couple of years, which I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm 100% believing that the CIA is spreading truthful information either, but we got to start somewhere, right?
What a fed, dude.
I believe that we are living in some kind of holographic simulation. And I think that it's entirely possible that we think that we're physical beings, but that's actually not even the case. We are, not to get woo-woo here, but we are spiritual beings living a human existence. Like, that's not that crazy to say, right? I think that that's absolutely what it is. This is kind of like a dream. I'll give you an example. This is going to blow your mind. Okay, so it was, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. I have another podcast called Meta Mysteries, and we had a guest on there. His name is Optimistic Banks. Really cool dude. But he brought up the idea of, okay, so there's people that dream all the time. Jacob never dreams, but I dream all the time, dude. And, whenever you wake up from a dream, it might be symbolic and you don't really know the meaning behind it. Like those people that, for example, like if you have a dream and all your teeth are falling out, like the old wives' tale is that somebody close to you is going to die. I don't know how those two correlate, but that's what they say. But if you go into a dream interpreter, like you go to a dream interpreter, they have dream interpreter AIs and like that, and you can always get your dream interpreted. Well, you can use that on the other side too, because there are some people that speculate that this reality is a dream. The Hindus and the Buddhists, they have terms for this, that they believe that this is just another facet of the dream world. And so the idea is that if something crazy happens to you in your in real physical life and waking life, something crazy happens to you, then what you can do is you can plug that into a dream interpreter, bro. And this is going to blow your mind. You can even go to a dream interpreter and just say, oh, this was a dream that I had. You can look up at, like, the meaning behind it and possibly why it happened. And it's usually like a spiritual kind of thing. So I just recently had something crazy happen. And like a few weeks ago, my dog bit somebody. And it was horrific, bro. Like it was like the worst I'd ever felt. Like this poor person got bit, and my dog is not aggressive at all.
Is it a pit bull?
Right? No, he's actually like a mix between a boxer and a wiener dog. Like, not aggressive, right? He has a boxer head and then a wiener body. And
what a weirdo.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind now, dachshunds are in the top 5 most aggressive dog breeds. Little known fact.
I didn't know that. So Anyway, my dog bit somebody. And so what I did, I was like, all right, let me try and see this, trying to take my mind off of it somehow. And I plugged it into a dream interpreter. And wouldn't you believe, I'm not going to get too specific, but wouldn't you believe that it completely correlated with what was going on in my life at that moment? Like, it was almost like it was such an epiphany moment for me that I instantly understood that we are absolutely living in some kind of dream realm. You look down at the atom and then down to the quark, and it's not really anything physical anyway. Like, atoms are completely empty outside of the energy and the light that are within them. I mean, every single thing that you think is physical isn't at all. It is coding. Like, whenever you go and you I always say this, but whenever you go and stub your toe on the corner of the wall, right? Like, we think that our toe is hurting, but it's actually not. It's just some kind of sensor that's sending it back up to our brain that's saying that your toe is hurting, right? And so it's like your existence is being interpreted through your mind. Like, your mind is literally tricking you. And something that the Hindus say, I think it's a Hindu thing. It could be Buddhist. But I'm pretty sure it's a Hindu thing. They have this thing where it's called Maya, and they believe that the Maya is the dream reality that is trying to fool you into believing that this is a real thing. And it's quite crazy, dude, because the Maya, you could look at that as like, it's the serpent, it's the snake, it's the devil, it's the deceit. It's keeping you connected to like this physical world and getting you addicted to this or whatever. Like whenever you got that animalistic need, that's the Maya. It's with your mind. And so I don't know. I look at this world completely different. And if it wasn't for my other podcast, Meta Mysteries, I probably would be stuck on like maybe it's still a double toroid Earth, which is still kind of crazy.
And I'll say that as far as the flat Earth community goes, the ones that are of the simulation / matrix theory, right, which is not exactly what Jonathan's on right at this moment, but at the same time, it's of the same flavoring, I guess, the same kind of family. Even though I'm a ball earther, simulation / matrix theory, it checks out. And that's the problem. It's like there's no way of testing that to see if there's something beyond that. Like we wouldn't know about it in the reality we currently reside in. That's one of those that's like, all right, I see where you're going with this. I get it.
So whenever, and Jacob, I know you don't dream very often, but you have dreamed before. And then Juan, are you somebody that dreams semi-frequently?
Yes, frequently. And also if I indulge in cannabis, I won't. But if I don't, which I'm usually, I'll smoke a bowl once every few months, maybe, if that. I will dream, and I do have vivid dreams. And I've also tried. Have I told you guys about my skull method?
Skull? I'm all about it. What is it?
So it's not my method, but it's a method. You guys want to hear about it? All right, for those, my people have heard about it before, but I'm going to tell it to you guys because you guys seem like, well, Jacob, you try this. I'm going to give you two. I'm going to give you two ways to have very, very good dream recollection. The first one is called the Pythagorean method. And what you do is when you're laying down, you're tired, you're getting ready to go to bed, you're going to think about your day backwards. Everything you did. Start small, right? Sometimes you're not going to remember your whole day because that's just the way it is. We're busy people and we do stuff, right? So think of your day backwards and you walk through your day backwards all the way to when you woke up. Right? And do that every night and then just drift off to sleep. And it's supposed to, again, this is something that Manly P. Hall taught Ronnie Pontiac. So shout out to Ronnie. And
shout out to Ronnie Pontiac. I love that guy.
He's awesome, dude. Shout out to him. And for me, it's worked. I can have up to 90%. One time I had a crazy dream and I could remember everything. I'm like, this is crazy. So the skull method, let me pull it up here.
Do you have trouble getting to sleep? That's my next question. Oh, yes. See, that's the difference, bro. When my head hits the pillow, we have a solid 5 to 6 seconds before I'm in a coma.
But do you do the Navy SEAL method to go to sleep? Do you do that?
I know the method you're talking about, and no, my method is my head hits the pillow, I shut my eyes, and I'm out, dog. Like, and I've even
Navy SEAL method.
So it's a breathing technique that you do. And it essentially puts you, I'm not saying it causes your brain to hyperventilate and go dark, so to speak, but that's the oversimplification of what's happening. You hold your breath, deep breath, you hold it for 4 seconds, you slow release, you do something. There's a method to it and it works. Tons of guys, and this is how Navy SEALs train themselves to be able to sleep instantly. But even when I went to the VA, I had to go for a sleep apnea study. So they hooked my head up to diodes and all of this. Bro, when I go down, I am in a coma. There's little to no brain activity. It's not that I'm not remembering my dreams. I'm not dreaming, bro.
And little to no brain activity when you wake up, too, bro. You got it on when you're sleeping. I'm just
Yo, when I wake up, I have about 60 seconds of trying to catch my bearings of where I'm at and what's going on.
Yes.
And then and I'm a morning person. No, when I wake up, man, you give me about a minute or two to get my muscles moving and we in it. We locked in. Let's go get some caffeine. Let's get after it.
Here's my thing. To get up, horrible. But once I'm up, I'm going, and I can go for a long time. But then when I go down to wake back up, bro, I'm done. I'm a Taurus, guys. It's just Taurus in me, right?
Let's go.
So we got the skull and exercise and dream recall. Now, it's gonna sound a little gay. Bear with me.
With a name like Skull, I mean,
you don't have to use the symbology that we're gonna speak of, but you can use, a key and a hole. You can use a ring and a finger. You can use anything you want if you don't want to feel a little gay at night, laying down next to your
penetrative, whatever we're about to talk about.
You're
Sounds
a woman.
Yeah.
So purpose. And I found this I have this USB drive with the sacred texts, that website that's got a ton of books, like esoteric and occult books. So I had gotten this drive. It's got like 30,000 books or something like that. And I was looking for an episode topic. And I was on the randomize button, just reading different books, and it came across this for whatever reason. So purpose. This is an exercise to aid in the recollection of dreams through the use of visualization and tactical imagery. It is best performed at the times that one begins to fall asleep. And I've tried this a few times. Guys, it works. So number 1, relax, take a few deep breaths, and concentrate on the present sensation of your extremities. So you start to focus on your hands and your feet and everything. Allow yourself to feel the gradual decrease in sensitivity of the limbs as you drop off to sleep. So when you get that feeling where you don't feel your arms anymore because you haven't moved them in so long, and your body's like, hey, itch your nose. Ignore that. You just stay there and you don't feel your arms, you don't feel your legs. Switch your attention rapidly from limb to limb, but block out extraneous thoughts as completely as possible. When nearly all sensation is lost in the extremities, switch your attention to your spine. That's where it gets a little gay. Localize your attention to the sensation at each vertebrae. So you're going to go each individual vertebrae. You're going to concentrate on going all the way up. Send a current of energy up from the base very slowly to the top. When the current reaches the top, So you're going to send this.
The fact that you're stopping says it was about to get gay.
It's going to get gay.
Why are you gay?
You visualize this light coming up from like your the bottom of your spine all the way to the top, right?
Mm.
When the current reaches the top, visualize the entire spine as a penis. And I like to visualize like a huge avatar dick, like a huge blue dick, right?
Yeah.
At the point where it enters the skull as the sexually oriented orifice of your choice. So if you like butts, you can do a butt. If you like, whatever, you do that. So you have a huge light penis stroking
coming up your spine.
Yeah. And going into that hole, right? You're gonna focus on that, right? Concentrate now on the sensations of the spine penis entering the foramen magnum orifice, which is the hole at the bottom of your skull. When bringing the sensation to the conscious level, recall that it is your penis and your orifice. A great deal of sensation is being generated. Now, if you're gonna be doing this next to your lady at night or your dude, whatever, just again, I've never felt like the orgasm stuff of it, but this is like a sexual gnosis, sort of like magic or something, whatever they call it.
You can come from this?
Hey, dude, I don't know. I've never.
I mean, not you specifically, Juan, but
I guess
hold
you
on.
could.
They're saying that like you can, mind yourself into,
or even, dude, there's some dudes who can come without coming. You know that, right? Like some dudes practice coming without. You can do that?
Oh yeah,
dude, that's crazy.
Huh?
I've been doing, dude. That's since I was like, I'm not gonna say what age.
Are we talking about edging?
Jonathan's been magically masturbating since he was a little boy, dude.
Are we talking about like tantric? Or are we talking about like edging yourself? I'm confused.
He's talking tantric.
No. What I'm saying is like sometimes you can orgasm without coming. I can do that. Like pretty much every time if I want to. It's kind of a pain in the ass.
Jacob is learning so much about Jonathan today, and
I'm thinking like, when the mag's empty and you have no more rounds to give, but your mind, your body's saying no, but your mind says yes. Yeah, you might be blowing dust.
The trick is that as soon as you're getting ready to orgasm, you like pull back and like try and prevent yourself from actually achieving like full orgasm to where you really just have like a tiny orgasm, and then you can just keep going.
That's called edging, bro.
Yeah,
if you do that, but if you do that, you can go as long as you want.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the other method I've always done was like if you're about to nut and you're like within under 5 minutes and you're a little quick on the trigger that night, you pull out, you smack your nuts real quick, it hurts, and about 10 seconds later you're back in action, boys. Not talking like, oh, like no, don't hate yourself here, but a quick little back of the finger, like,
God, dude.
Worse than being punched in the old ball bag. I would rather get punched than flicked.
It's hitting the reset button, man, but you're doing it to the hardness you're doing it. You know what I mean? You're not like trying to crush your boys, but you're hitting that hard reset for sure.
Oh my God, dude.
But,
All right.
okay, so
So
yeah, edging, that's another excellent. And it also it trains you to have stamina for sure.
So
Right.
last part. Hold the images
There's more?
hold the images
Holy
and
fuck.
sensations in your mind until you do in fact fall asleep. Attempt immediately to hold up your dream hands in front of your eyes. By practicing this daily, and your total dream recall is achieved in a relatively short time. Now, when it says that part, dream recall, I did this for like a week one time, and bro, when I tell you that I could remember reading in my dream, I could remember everything about I could wake up and walk you through my dream. Like, it was the crazy, it sounds weird. You don't have to use a penis. You can use a key. You can edge yourself like John, whatever. You can do whatever, but that's the technique. All right.
Hey, it's only dumb if it doesn't work. So
It's not that it honestly, it doesn't even sound that crazy. Like, there's a lot of people that, are trying to find different ways of, remembering their dreams. Some people like apple juice or something, or you can sleep with the black obsidian crystal.
Wait, what?
next
Apple juice? What?
So if you drink amounts of apple juice before you go to bed, it will like chemically induce crazy dreams.
Because
Also,
it gets you all that sugar.
yeah. Also sleeping with a red light on in the room. Now, I don't mean like a bright ass red light, but like instead of having like a blue light on your ceiling, having a red light will induce
I
some.
sleep with a red light.
There you go.
Oh,
there was an experiment done. I'm trying to remember which 3-letter agency did it, but essentially had a person put on headsets with just playing white noise, just static, right? And not white noise like sound waves and like, no, just static, right? Cut a ping pong ball in half and put each of them on top of
I've
your
seen that.
eyelids. Yeah, and then the red light. And apparently you can self-induce hallucinations, like without even going
Like
to sleep.
scary.
Yeah,
Like, I've seen
you give
people rip it
yourself a
off.
bad acid trip. Yeah.
Yeah, because that happens when there's a lot of snow, right? Like when people that live in places that has a lot of snow, I've heard that happens where they start to hallucinate.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where I've seen that from. They were talking like, oh, if you don't know a place with a lot of snow or whatever, here, use the ping. And the dude like rips it off his head because he saw like a bear or something coming towards him, like, and it freaked him out. But I sleep with a red light on because my wife got us this bed frame and she wanted the LED lights on the back, and I like the red because it's kind of dark, right? So there's an LED strip all across the back of the bed, and I put the red because she likes like the blue or yellow, and it's like super bright. I'm like, bro, you can't even sleep with it. So I turned the red light on, which she doesn't like it, but I turned that on, and it's a little more subtle. But I have been having some trippy dreams lately where I'm like remembering them, and I think like sometimes in the dream, like I had one this past week where I was hiding behind a car from somebody, and they were walking past, and I was crouching behind a car, trying to hide from them. But I think what was happening is I'm a stomach sleeper, so I was sleeping on my stomach, like kind of hugging my pillow, and I think that's what I was doing in reality. I was hugging my pillow, and in the dream it got reinterpreted as like I'm crouching behind in the same position behind the car. It was like weird, right? Because like I woke up and I'm like, I thought about it after. I'm like, this is kind of like the same position that I was in the dream. So I don't know how many times I've been in a position in my bed, and they say that, right? Like dream yoga, depending on which position you sleep, determines what kind of dreams you have. Which that's
they
crazy.
say you're supposed to keep your head pointed north. But another thing is that if you keep your head pointed north, then it'll allow like the dream state to happen a little bit easier, because now, like, I guess it's because we have some sort of magnetism with us, and if your head is facing south, it is like battling against each other, to where some people say that that's why like migraines and headaches are happening, because you're sleeping in this, your head is south. And so it's like just some kind of magnetic battle all night or something like that.
I know that's how you make sure you have a boy versus a girl too.
Really?
Hell yeah. I'm 3 for 3 on that.
Depending on where I am, I can't sleep on certain sides. So I guess I wouldn't be able to sleep. I don't know. I'm gonna have to.
Is it the way the bed is oriented in the room that depends on what side you sleep on? Because I've heard a lot of people say that. Like for some people, sometimes the guy girl thing, sometimes it's who wears the pants in the relationship or who's more dominant. And I'm not trying to shade anybody on this for the record, but there are some I've had women. As a matter of fact, my ex-wife, she mother of my first two children. She wanted to sleep with me closer to the door or to the windows in case something were to happen, right? Okay, then I've had others that would sleep with them closer to the door or the window in case something went wrong. They had a quicker exit, right? And it was more about like what put them more at peace to get their minds off of the excess to where they could go to sleep. Meanwhile, there's me. And it don't really matter to me. But, it depends on each person. And sometimes it's even a relationship dynamic thing.
No, so yeah, in Miami, I sleep facing my wife, but then she sleeps the opposite of where we sleep here in Orlando. I sleep facing away from her, and she sleeps facing towards me. And dude, I will not go to sleep if I'm not facing a certain way on my stomach. I will not. And usually when I want to get a fast and good night's sleep, because I got to wake up early or whatever it is, I will immediately assume the position of on my stomach, facing my right way, and I'm out. Like, I will be out. How you said quick, right? But if I'm trying to do the skull with it, I'll lay on my back like this, and I'll just, I'll do my thing, and then...
Yeah.
Is that something
fuck yourself to sleep, dog?
She's going to listen to the podcast and be like, so that's why you sleep on your back sometimes? I'm just skull myself to sleep.
Hey, why are you erect? Holy shit. I'm trying to go to sleep. You mind the business.
Got a tent, pop in a tent, bro, while I'm trying to do the recall. Hey, honey, it's just dream recall. We got to understand our dreams, I'm trying to... Have you guys ever done astral projection at all? I mean, Jonathan, at least?
Oh yeah. Well, I had tried doing astral projection, like through meditations. You have certain frequencies that you can listen to that I guess will, make it a little bit easier for that type of thing to happen. And it does feel like you're kind of just imagining that it's happening. It doesn't feel like it's actually happening, which, I mean, if we're living in a dream world, what's imagining and what's real, who knows? But anyway, I did have one out of body experience. It was just a few months ago, actually, where they say that as long as, so I don't get sleep paralysis a lot, but whenever I do, ever since I learned this method, I take advantage of it every time I can. So the most recent time that I had sleep paralysis, like a couple months ago, it's basically, and here's a little trick to that. You don't necessarily have to be in sleep paralysis. You just have to convince your body and your mind that you're in one. So, I'm not even sure that I had sleep paralysis, but I assumed that I was because my body felt asleep and I still felt like I was dreaming in my mind, because I woke up in the middle of the night like that. So what I did was I was like, oh, let me try and see if I can jump up out of my body. I feel like I'm in sleep paralysis right now. So I always sleep with my bedroom door closed, right? Like I can't sleep with that shit open. The dogs run out and they with everything. And I don't know. I just like it enclosed. So I had the sleep paralysis thing one night and I woke up out of, I was in the sleep paralysis, but I was able to be kind of coherent. And I was like, let me try and see if I can get up out of my body like other people have said that they can do. So I did. I got up out of my body and I walked on my bed for some reason. And I look back at my body and I'm like, oh, I'm really doing this. This is crazy. And then I go and open my bedroom door, right? And I go out into the living room and I'm thinking what is that thing? How can I prove that I'm actually doing this? According to me, it felt like a real experience. It felt like I was really doing it. Everything in my apartment was exactly the way I left it. It seemed absolutely real. And for some reason, within this sleep paralysis moment or in this dream, whatever it was, I left the TV on, which I never do, but in this instance, my TV in my living room was on. So I was like, oh, I know what I can do. I'll just turn the TV off. And that way, whenever I wake up, I'll know that that's what I did. there was the dumbest thing that I could have ever thought, because why would my TV be on anyway, right? And so, but I knew that I had a very limited amount of time out of body for some reason. Like I knew that I was going to have to get back really quick. So I was only out for, I don't know, 20 or 30 seconds or something like that. And then I came back into my room and I got back into my, like I just laid back on top of my body, which is pretty weird. Like almost like I just.
Did it feel gay like when you did that, like laying on top of yourself?
No, it just felt like getting into your car, like that's the way I interpret it anyway. And so whenever I woke up, I was like, oh my God, did I really do that last night? Or was I just dreaming? Like it could have just been a mind. And I was like, well, what was that thing that I did that would, help me remind myself that I actually did this? And I go and I'm like, dude, I turned my TV off. It would have been more important if I'd have turned the TV on. That would have proven it a little bit more to me. But then I noticed I'm laying in my bed and I'm trying to think about it. My bedroom door was open, bro. So I never sleep with that door open. And so I'm thinking that was my clue that I actually did get out of body. Very surreal experience. I mean, the same exact feeling of you actually getting up out of bed, walking out the door, going into your living room, observing everything around you like you normally would. It was the same exact thing. So for me, that was my out-of-body experience. I haven't had a sleep paralysis or anything since then to really try it again. But to me, it's confirmed, yeah, that's actually like a real thing, to me anyway.
Did you open your door in your astral body, or like did you go through it? Because have you guys ever read Robert Monroe's book? Journeys
Out
I
of
love
the Bob.
Yeah. Phasing in and out of things. Like, was it like that? Do you remember even going anywhere near your door?
Yeah, I assumed that everything that I could do, I assumed that like basically that I was still this physical body. So I would have opened up my door, right? And I didn't think about like trying to float through my door or anything, because I'm thinking that it's still me, even though I'm looking back, looking at me. And but yeah, like the Monroe Institute, that actually might have been what sparked it, because on my other show we listened to like the Monroe tapes, and read all about Bob Monroe and the Monroe Institute and all that kind of. And they say that if you listen to those tapes, that it'll give you like weird dreams and stuff like that, because it's just a long ass meditation is really what it is. But it's really cool.
I've only listened to the first one, the first exercise where you're supposed to listen to the binaural beats and then start doing the like that first part. That's the only part that I got to. And
you're trying to like synchronize your tone with the tone that you're listening to.
Yeah, and that's the only thing. I did have for a long time sleep paralysis, but I haven't had it in a minute, and I can't stay in that state because it feels like there is something that's going to get me. And I get the worst kind of anxiety, like you're going to die, that kind of anxiety. And I had it so much growing up that I've learned already how to rip myself out of that state, right? Immediately, where you kind of do like you sound like I sound like a dumbass and, going like that. And then you just like peel yourself out. I can do that like almost immediately. It's scary when I've had sleep paralysis multiple times at night. And then like, I'll wake up in the middle when I go, oh, damn, not again. And then you got to like pull yourself out again. So I've never been able to, jump out because it feels like something is watching and going to get me. And, some people say they see the old hag sitting on her chest. Some other people say that they see shadow people. I've never seen any of that, but I'll tell you for a fact, it's one of the most terrifying feelings you'll ever feel, because it's like this anxiety just hits you, and you're like, when you were a kid and you felt like if your feet were hanging off the bottom of that, something was gonna get you. Just want to remind everyone, make sure to check out the show on Patreon, patreon.com/the One-on-One Podcast. I constantly get emails. Oh, only one episode a week. Yeah, one episode a week for the public, but for as little as $5 a month, you can get up to 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 1 episode per day on the Patreon, as well as on the YouTube channel as a member for as little as $5. And there's also on the Patreon over 250 episodes only found on there. There's an extensive backlog of episodes. So check that out. If for those interested, for those asking, make sure to follow the show on YouTube, Juan Juan Podcast. Also, Juan Juan Media. I am going live every Tuesday on there streaming. I also go live on twitch.tv/Juan on Juan Podcast. So make sure to check me out on there Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern. And make sure to get your copy of the Occultus Mundi Homunculus Owner's Manual, all that good stuff at tjojp.com. Can pick up your copies there or go over to the Ko-Fi. I'm on Facebook, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, all that good stuff. You know where to find it, and enjoy this episode. It's like that, but turned up to like 1,000. We were like, holy shit, if I don't break out of this, I'm going to die. So I've never hung around, dude. Like, and I don't want to find out.
I used to have like nightmares all the time, and they would always scare the shit out of me. But I developed like a defense mechanism for that too, to where like even in the dream itself, like if something is chasing me that's scary and I'm like death is imminent and shit like that, for some reason, like subconsciously, I know, all right, wake up. Like, I don't even think about waking up. It's just that I know that it's not real, like in the dream, which is pretty strange. But like, as far as like the sleep paralysis, dude, you know, the reason why a lot of people get so scared in those sleep paralysis things is because you realize that you're not in control. Like, you realize that you don't have control of your body. And if something was going to come and with you, you would be totally defenseless against that, which causes the fear and the anxiety, which in turn, you're still in that sleep state, right? Like still in that the alpha or the theta state. So that is the more creative mind, and that creativity is going to just latch onto that fear and latch onto that anxiety, and it's going to basically like manifest these scary things. Like people have talked about like a 8-foot tall Slenderman at the end of their bed whenever they're, you know, having sleep paralysis. And then that same person would say, oh my God, it was the scariest thing I ever imagined. But after a few days of thinking about it, I realized that that was just the deepest, darkest parts of myself, you know, because they say that whenever, like if you don't like somebody, it's usually because they have some kind of aspect that you don't like about yourself, right? And so if you look at the world like it's a matrix, and that, you know, kind of like it's all one video game, the reason why you wouldn't like how could you, if everything is one thing, right? Like if everything is one thing, how could you be scared or judge anything else? Because it is you at that point. And that's more of like the dream world type of thing. Whenever you go, you know damn well, whenever you go to sleep and you have a dream, that's you. Like every single aspect of that dream is you. Like it could be conscious thoughts, it could be unconscious thoughts, but every single person and every single monster and all that, they're all just aspects of your own self. And so if you convert that over to this real world, especially for like sleep paralysis, that monster would just be you. It could be something that you've tried to drown out, or something that you don't think about, or something that scares you so you don't think about it and you don't face it or whatever. This is why they say you should do shadow work and meditate and all this other kind of stuff. But yeah, I feel like I'm just rambling on now.
Jacob,
I mean, this is your world on this one, brother. This is so out of my realm of what I consider real or what I even consider. So, like, this is, you two are going at it right now, and I'm here for it. Y'all just get after it.
I wish you could experience. I think Jacob, he do the skull method, bro. And we'll have another chat, because I feel like you do dream, you just don't remember them.
According to the brain studies that I've had done, I do not. Now, I'm not saying that I never, ever dream. I have dreamed before. It's been a few years since it was like a regular occurrence. I might, and a big might, have one dream per year.
So another question for you. I don't know. You guys are kind of freaking me out. We got Jonathan talking about the CIA maybe putting out good information. Then Jacob, you know, I forgot what you said earlier. Very fetish. Do you have an inner monologue? Can you speak in your head without having to speak it out?
Oh, absolutely. Hell, Jonathan has sent me into a past life regression before. He hypnotized me, and that was fun as hell.
What were you?
Had a dream that night, by the way, too.
I did. I dreamed that night, as a matter of fact.
Because
So I
you
mean,
get
it's
put into that like brainwave mode.
not impossible for me to dream, and I don't smoke, for the record. I know I had a lot of people in the comments, yeah, because you're a stoner. I don't smoke, actually, if we're gonna get real technical, but I have in the past.
I mean,
sure.
nicotine doesn't help either. That's the thing. Like, nicotine is also another substance that probably inhibits. Yeah, it's again, it's addicting. That's why it's
Nicotine got me by the balls at this point. I do plan on quitting it this year. Don't get me wrong, but as of right now, I mean, I don't know. I've been smoking since I was 16, and I used to. When I was in high school, I dreamed. When I was in the military, I dreamed. I don't know when. I couldn't even tell you a pinpoint of when it really stopped for me, but I mean, it's not impossible for me to. It's just very rare. And whenever I do dream, I wake up and can remember them. You know, it's all of those functions work. It's just usually I'm too tired. My brain's just like, homie, we've been working all day. Let's take a night off.
Well, here's the deal. I just looked at Healthline and the Sleep Foundation. They both say yes. Everyone dreams at night, even if they don't remember their dreams. Most people dream for about 2 hours each night, primarily during a stage of sleep called rapid eye movement or REM sleep. So it could just be that your recall is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
No, but that's the thing. Whenever I do dream, I can remember it when I wake up. It's not that. Even when I did the studies with the VA, I was actually very curious about that. I was going for sleep apnea, but they still hooked up the diodes to read brain activity, oxygen levels, all of these things. Flatline, dude.
We're going to get to the bottom of this, dude. I think that I don't want to say that you're a full-blown NPC and you just shut out of the matrix as soon as you go to sleep. I don't want to think that, Jacob.
Oh, according to whoever you ask, apparently I'm a Fed and Jonathan's my handler. You know what I mean? And apparently I'm just pissing everybody off because they're you know, same as that we were talking about earlier, like the conspiracy community, people kind of go a little too far with it. And next thing you know, they like, it's obvious this person hasn't come up for air or like touched grass in a few weeks. And then it's like, it's the Jews. They're controlling everything. And I'm like, nah, bro. So y'all got it wrong. It's the gypsies that are controlling everything.
It's the fairies, dude.
Oh, fairies.
It's
God,
the
I forgot
fairies.
about the Fey world. Absolutely.
Another conspiracy that I like, the dead internet theory, where all the infrastructure, a lot of it makes sense. There's a lot of like abandoned infrastructure on the internet, but that I think that a lot of the people that we interact with are probably just bots, dude. Because they say some of the most ridiculous that you could ever possibly think of. And you go, a human being couldn't possibly be this retarded, like of what you're commenting right now. So it feels like a lot of these people aren't even real. And again, that's not like I recently did a breakdown on the Truman Show, right? The movie, which is a crazy
best
movie.
movies of all time.
Yeah.
The Truman Show syndrome is a real thing. And I'm sure you guys have met people like, you see that Disney movie that was about me and my family? It's like, all right, bro. Settle down, dude. You know, you work as a janitor somewhere. No, ain't nothing wrong with janitors, right? Janitors hold the keys to reality, okay? That's why they got the keys, okay? So
sacred occupation, man.
Absolutely. There you go. So, a lot of these people, I think that I think a lot of them are bots. The people that we interact with, especially in this community, it would make sense, right, that they would try to infiltrate and spread. And the problem is that you have good information with bad information, right? And sometimes both of them make sense, or you have a combination of both. Real information intermingled with and you got to kind of sort of make your way out. Like the whole alien stuff, dude. I remember it was pretty chill a few years ago. Everyone was on board with the alien stuff. Like, hey, aliens, yeah, they're cool. UFOs. And now I saw like a flip of a switch when the government started coming out about it. Oh, aliens are fake and gay. It's all a psyop. It's all Project Bluebeam. It's like, dude, I was in freaking elementary school reading about Area 51, and I was always wondering, like, what the hell's in there, man? You really think they got aliens there? Like, this is the craziest thing. UFOs, Roswell. Like, the first one for me was the Bermuda Triangle. Like, when I first got into this sort of stuff, reading about Flight 19, I'm like, as a kid, where the hell? You remember those Scholastic book fairs?
Yeah.
Where they had a whole bunch of reading Goosebumps. You guys remember reading Goosebumps growing up? Goosebumps were crazy, dude.
Our children.
Yeah, dude. Like, I remember a Series of Unfortunate Events was another one of my favorites growing up as a kid. But again, I knew as a kid, I'm like, yo, there's definitely UFOs, there's definitely aliens, and now aliens are just, according to Greer, some alien greys are robotic cyborgs or half meat soup / android things, and it's like, where do we get here? It sounds like a good plot to a movie.
Like biological AIs and like that. Well, as far as the people being NPCs, I used to think that was like absolutely what was going on.
Have you ever seen your neighbor bring in groceries?
I've heard of that one too. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I bring in groceries, I try and make it known to everybody so that they can wake up from this.
You got the groceries.
Like, look what I'm doing. I got the groceries. Just so you know, I'm real. I'm not a figment of your imagination. But no, like in regards to the NPC thing, though, I used to think that too. But then I started to remember, bro, there was definitely a point in my life where I used to be an NPC, like 100% bought into the system. Like if I heard something on the news, I believed it. It's the news. They're not going to lie to us. If the government said something, I believed it. It's the government. They're not going to lie to us. It's the same thing of like, like developing that level of respect for your parents, like you don't question what your parents say. They're trying to guide you in the right direction. And now that overlay converts to, the government and everything else. Like you get so caught up in the stupid little reality TV shows. Dude, I used to be obsessed with Jersey Shore. That was my back in the day. Right. But that's just
learning so much about Jonathan today, dude, man.
That was NPC Jonathan. That's what I'm trying to say. And but that's going back to the Maya of what I was talking about earlier. That's the illusion fooling you right before your own eyes. And if you can't crack that system, then the Maya is just going to stay, fooling you. It's going to stay keeping you in this material realm and keeping you in the idea that you're right about everything or that you can figure out everything or respecting certain people, not respecting, you should respect everybody, but like believing everybody just because, well, they're smarter than me, so they must got it right? Like that's a dangerous place to be too. So once you can understand that this world is somewhat of an illusion, now it's like, you can't be an NPC anymore. It's actually impossible to be an NPC because now you're looking at the world for what it is, and it's trying to get you to talk about Kim Kardashian. It's trying to get you to talk about, just these people that literally don't matter.
And it depends, right? Like you said, the smartest guy on earth and all these things. And it is dangerous to listen to these people. Look, Isaac Newton, allegedly one of the smartest guys of his day and age, right? A hermeticist, an alchemist, a father of physics, and all these things. He died from drinking mercury. Like, he wasn't that smart. Like, he was smart per the day and age, but he was also retarded in others. Like, you see what I mean? For sure.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing is that, you can only be as smart as what, the information allows. I mean, if you're somebody that is like a scholar or scientific or something like that, that's why I just stay open-minded, as open-minded as I possibly can about a lot of this. Like, and literally like the saying on my other show is, you don't know what you don't know. I walk around with that mentality of like, all right, if we get a guest that comes on the show, on either one of the shows, and they're trying to present something, I don't sit there and try and battle them because my belief trumps theirs. I try and listen to what their view is, try and get an understanding of whatever it is, put myself in that headspace that allows me to understand the way they're thinking and why they think this and stuff like that. But if you just walk around and you think that you know every damn thing and you're going to argue for everybody that disagrees with you, that's a NPC move.
I always get accused of this for various reasons, don't get me wrong. And it's not that I think I know everything, but I know more than most. I would argue that point. And it's not me trying to be narcissistic, but I have a little bit of knowledge about a lot of things, right? Oh. Right, that kind of narc, yeah. But like, I typically try to let people, go on their tangents, but typically whenever they start going at the Bible or some sort of religious book, I want to ask a few questions and just put what they're saying through a couple of levels of a sifter to see if it can even make it through the first two different questions. You know what I mean? And typically when they can't, I'm obviously just being an asshole. And it's like, okay, so that's a thing for sure.
But it's good to have a healthy level of skepticism because how Jonathan said, like, if you just 100% believe, and that's why, again, I have zero problems with flat Earth. It's the people, right? Like the concept, cool, dude. I mean, I talk about the homunculus, so I hate when they're like, "You're just not open-minded enough," dude. I've looked into it. Trust me, it doesn't. Like, there's things that don't make sense. Now, there are things that the flat Earth answers that the globe doesn't, and vice versa. They're both flawed, right? But just because you watched a few Eric Dubé videos and a couple debates, right? Whatever. The whole latest thing was the final experiment. And I'm like,
yeah, that was hilarious.
The lengths. And this is why I'm saying this whole idea of people being mentally, like legitimately being mentally, and a lot of the things that I see on the online, if you're being presented something and you just flat out don't want to accept it, you're either a bot or you're mentally ill. And the fact that they've gone to the lengths of saying, oh, they were in an Amazon movie studio and it was a blue screen or a whole green screen. Bro, you'd rather believe that crazy ass that they're in the Truman Dome versus that they actually went to Antarctica and saw a 24-hour sun.
Well, because where were the guys on the ice wall with the guns? We all know that's real. And it's like, bro, what?
People were always going to try and debunk a video anyway.
100%.
But I will say this. There were some edits in that video. And I think that if they were trying, and if they were trying to really prove it, you should have never edited it. Like, that's the thing. You have to have that continuous video. Like, we can have videos of the ISS being built, right? Like we can watch, like, not being built, but like adding parts and taking away parts. But there's no video of like showing how they got all that up there. Like, they didn't look back down. You know what I'm saying? It's all perspective thing.
But even these days of a full unedited video, someone's going to say, oh, well, it was just AI. Oh, well, it was all CGI from the beginning. That's why it never panned away. Or it was this, or it was this. If people are looking for a flaw, they'll just come up with one, bro.
But also, a lot of the stuff that happens, and we're going to use Flat Earth as an example, is they're in front of a computer screen. Hey, look at this. This looks off. Look at this. You ever seen, you ever look at a cloud and it looks like Snoopy for 1 second, and then the other cloud kind of looks like Princess Peach? It's like looking at clouds. And also, just because you don't understand something doesn't make your idea of it true. And it doesn't make the fact that if whatever you're observing doesn't make sense to you, doesn't make it fake either. You get what I'm saying? Like, just because a lot of these times is they don't understand the way, gravity works. That's the big one. Like, oh, there's no such thing as gravity. I know for a fact that if I jump up, I get pulled back down. You can call it Cthulhu's asshole. You can call it Princess Peach's whatever. What is it? Something's pulling me down. Gravity's just the name for it.
It's density, Juan.
Oh, Jesus.
I've heard, dude. I've heard it all. Like
it's magnetism. It's
magnetism. One of my favorite theories is the electric universe theory. I like that theory a lot.
It's fun,
but that would make space real. And I think I look at space as more of a dimension. The reason I say this is because it's used in the occult. Now, I don't know if the occult is a real thing or not. I'm leaning more towards it being, and again, being about this ancient espionage. Because even in the Bible, dude, in the Bible, there was espionage, there was spies, there was reconnaissance made. Like, there was all of that all over the place.
Everybody, every tribe, every nation has had spies for sure.
Yes. So it's like, if you look at it from that perspective of like, hey, maybe this is real information encoded in, the Goetic sigils. Like, maybe that was representative of something else. Like the guy who, Johann Weyer, I did an episode on this, the Pseudomonarchium. He did a grimoire on how to like control demons, right? It was 69 demons, right? This was a live-in student. Nice, right? This was a live-in student with Henry Cornelius Agrippa, right? One of the greatest occultists and occult writers of all time. That literally the foundation of like Western occultism was like the 3 occult books of Henry Cornelius Agrippa. Mind you, he was friends with John Dee. Like, they were using their works, John Dee, Trimethius, and all these guys who, again, were in intelligence, right? The original 007 John Dee.
And astrology magic.
And astrology. Yeah, they were doing all this stuff, right? So Johann Weyer wrote this book on how to control these demons and angels and all this stuff. And it's like, it's like a prayer. He wrote the book as a form of satire to make fun of the concept, right? But from his book came the Goetia that has 72 demons, but they mixed it up. And that's used for real, according to some people. But if the first version is fake and gay, what does that make the second version?
Well, it's not that simple, though. I understand. Yeah. So there is, and I just recently looked this up. Check this word out, bro. I don't know if this is like a new word. I never heard of it before recently, but it's the idea behind hyperstition. Like, superstitious people, don't step on a crack or you break your mama's back kind of. But hyperstition is essentially the idea behind like mimetic magic, right? Like using memes for magic and that kind of stuff. Basically,
sigils and hieroglyph kind of magic.
Kind of in a way, but basically, if you can get the majority of people to believe something, or even if you, the individual, can believe something, that you can like manipulate it somehow, like you can manipulate your beliefs. Like for example, the Hindus believe that they see Krishna in their meditation. The Christians believe that they're talking to Jesus. The Muslims believe that, whatever wisdom comes down, it's from the mighty Muhammad, and so on and so on. Are we to say that there's only, I know like the religious people out there, I'm not trying to say that anybody's wrong. I'm just saying this is the view of it. How do I want to say this? Basically, if you like believe wholeheartedly into something, your mind does correlate with it, and you'll start to see certain things. So, for example, I created a tulpa, right? And so, do you know what a tulpa is?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so I created a tulpa. It is a green translucent alien octopus, and his name is Marv. Okay, he's literally the logo for my Meta Mysteries.
I think you told me about Marv when we talked last. It's in the van or whatever.
In the Meta Mystery Machine.
Yeah.
So, but if you meditate on him, you can see him, and sometimes you'll start getting thoughts that aren't your own. Now, is it because you don't identify with those thoughts, and so you think that they're not your own? Who knows what's going on? The majority of magic, it has to be believed to work. I know some people will disagree with that. They think that you need absolute materialistic things in order to create magic, whatever. They're to each their own. But I have definitely practiced magic, and magic works. Like I've done money spells, absolutely work. I've done like love spells, absolutely work. And I've created tulpas. Like these are real things, but what is real other than what you can convince yourself that is real? And that's kind of the magic behind it.
And see, I'm of a very different belief, and I'm not trying to go on a religious tear here.
You got demons, Jonathan. They're demons, bro. They're Nephilim.
No, not even going that route with it.
Every time I go there, tarot cards, everybody thinks that I'm demonic. I'm like, okay.
But no, there was what was that video of this person that hardcore believed that they could create a protective force field around themselves based off of their chi, right? There's a video of it, and this
the dude
person
gets punched in the face.
No, he got tackled. Like a linebacker smacked him, and that's my point. This person believed beyond. It is, yes, Jonathan. Thank you for answering the whole point of that.
Well, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. That what they were trying to do is absolutely ridiculous.
And then I've also seen people that believe that they are impervious, and like if they concentrate their energy and they believe in their mind that they, like you said, create their own reality, and your mind would fill in the gaps to make it real, because what is real, that's subjective. If that person believing this was to take in a breath of chlorine gas, they would find the object reality that they're going to die, regardless of what they believe. So while I understand that the mind is a very powerful tool, 100%, and it does fill in a lot of the blanks, and you can delude yourself and or create your own reality. I feel like some of those are the same thing, and I'm not saying that to demean it. I'm saying that you can, in fact, train your mind to do and respond to certain things the way you want it to respond. 100%.
I mean, dude, the skull is proof of that, right?
100%. But then I also believe in the realm of abject truth. And that's just, that's why me and Jonathan balance each other out in this way. He's very much into an entirely, I don't even think he and I live in the same reality. Like
No.
truly, we do not live on maybe the same planet, not the same world by any stretch of the imagination.
Completely different. Yeah.
Damn.
Which I do love that aspect of it, though, because I feel like you sometimes keep me grounded and I sometimes get your feet off the ground. So
Indeed.
it's a beautiful balance.
Indeed.
Jonathan's deep in it. I mean, he's an occultist, bro. I didn't even know that he was like doing all this other stuff. Like he's doing the do.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, dude, I've done sex magic. Sex magic works. Like I can hypnotize people, which I know like there's like a lot of fluff and stars around the word hypnotize. I'm just putting you into a meditative trance is really all I'm doing. And everybody experiences that at moments before you fall asleep. You go into a theta state. That's all I'm trying to get you to. But within that theta state, you start actually seeing like, I mean, pictures and images and video, and you almost like you believe that you're there. I mean, whether it is a past life or not, that's to me, that's beyond the point of even like past life regressions. The point is always like, what was the moral of the story and what did you learn and how could you take that information and apply it to your life so that you don't have to go through those same problems that, you know, the old you did, so to say.
And I mean, me, even with my beliefs, Jonathan put me through a past life regression. And I still am very uncertain as to what that was. Was that my brain kind of going into a dream
Can
state?
you talk about
what
it?
it would produce? Sure, I don't mind.
He was a Muslim.
So, all right. For the record, if you couldn't tell by my setup and by the armor, and I'm into night fighting. I'm into boo-hurt fighting, right? So like MMA with swords and shields and axes. Yeah.
Like you're hitting dudes with swords and stuff?
Yeah. This is my long sword, as a matter of fact.
Bro, that's pretty sick.
steel.
You know what I've been wanting to do? I've been wanting to do the lightsaber league here in Orlando.
Those are cool. But this is more like, this is full contact. We get a lot of broken bones
That's
and concussions
sick,
in this sport. But like, beside the point.
You're not stabbing anybody with it, but it's
they're dull.
Force.
But my point is, though, I'm into medieval history anyway, and I actually I currently hold a noble title, which is a whole separate conversation for another day. But yeah, wild. I got a lot of wild things with me, bro.
I'm sorry,
And
Your Highness.
No, all that. It's nothing. I didn't say a royal title. I said noble. It's different. But beside the point, I'm into medieval, right? So whenever Jonathan sent me through the past life regression, it doesn't sound crazy that I would have ended up in one of the Crusades, right? But at the same time, was that my brain just doing what my brain does when you unleash it and just let it walk around for a bit? Or was I actually experiencing a past life? And I'm very uncertain about this, to be honest with you. But to answer your question about what the past life was, right? So I essentially was, I don't even know if I was necessarily a Muslim, but it more than likely was. I was living in some sort of an Arab country. Couldn't tell you which one because I didn't like have a map that I was looking at, and I couldn't tell you a day and age that I was in specifically. But I do know that I was at least a guy of Arabic descent. And I did fight in at least some sort of a battle, which based off of the armor and the weapons that I was using, I would say was sometime around the first, possibly second crusade, but I'm leaning more towards the first. And this guy, my person, was apparently fighting with the Europeans. So that's why I'm not 100% sure what his religious beliefs were, whatever the case was. But I was a traveler. I didn't actually have a home to call for myself. I kind of roamed from place to place. There was a spot where I stopped in at a village, and they were farmers, goat farmers, if I'm not mistaken, or sheep, something along like that. And I was very well received by the people in that village. Although, like, you know, it wasn't like I was coming home by any means. It was more like I was on a travel to somewhere, and I was stopping in to say hey to some old friends, kind of thing. The old lady that was cooking for everybody, her name was it Oma or Orla? Something like that.
Yeah.
And then when the time came and I finally died, I was alone, and I gave whatever money was left in my pocket to this woman, young lady, to kind of tend to me until I passed away, and she was going to take whatever I had left. And I was like very at peace with that. I didn't have kids. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have land or titles or any of these things, but I was also at peace with that at the time of my death. And so yeah, it was a very interesting experience. Now, with that being said, was that 100% a past life that this soul has experienced circa a millennia ago? Okay, that's a conversation. Is it equally possible that because I'm into medieval anyway, that this is what would happen when my brain goes into a dream state and gets let off the leash and just walks around and creates the reality before it. Okay, that's also a conversation to have. I do want to do it again, another past life regression, to see if something completely out of left field comes out or not. Because, I mean, you hear these stories of people that like, oh, yeah, I was totally Joan of Arc in a past life. Oh, I was Julius Caesar. And I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all. Every single person on earth was not some person of note from a past life. It's very possible you were a Chinese farm girl that died of typhoid fever or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's not every one of these are glorious, but like, I wasn't some lord, you know what I mean, who like I could look up in history and all this. I had a pretty quote unquote normal-ish life for the day and age that I went back to. So it was interesting.
But I will say that, I've done probably close to 250 past life regressions, like administered them. And nobody that I can remember was ever anybody that you would know. Like most of the time it's, what Dolores Cannon, this is who I really learned it all from, or, her work. She would call them like normal, like digging potatoes lives. And you could have just been a potato farmer and every day is just about the same as the next. And, but then you get some weird ones where you're like, some kind of watcher, or you're some kind of energy, or maybe you are some kind of different being on another world or something like that. As a matter of fact, just last night I hypnotized somebody for the show, and she was a fractal being. So try and come up with questions for that. It was pretty difficult, but I mean, crazy can go on in here, and you are unleashing the mind. And that's the thing, whenever you allow yourself to get to that theta state of, it's basically like, all right, here's an example. Whenever you go to sleep at night, have you ever started dreaming before you fell asleep, Juan?
Yes.
That's where we're trying to go. And so you can experience wild in your dreams. I think about that all the time. Like, and this is why it's important to, go to sleep with, like positive things on your minds, because if you go to sleep all angry or depressed or anxious or anything like that, that's pretty much like how a lot of nightmares happen. So you want to make sure you're going to sleep happy, but the idea that he was able to go and experience that past life, that specific past life, with his interest in real life, in regards to the night fighting, and this is where it starts to get a little weird, because it's not necessarily chicken or the egg. It's more like chicken or the egg or the egg or the chicken at that point. So let me just take you down this rabbit hole. All right, so let's assume, let's play a little game here. Is it possible that because he had the past life where he was a knight is the reason why he loves all the knight in this reality?
Yes.
You could say that.
Yes.
I mean, just as simply, like, we don't know exactly what came first, the chicken or the egg, or, that kind of thing. Like, we all have very specific interests.
You identify with it for like some reason, because it's like in your genetics in some sort of way, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I love football. I love like all of the metaphysical kind of. Well, I mean, could you say then that maybe that's a version, maybe I lived a version of my life that I was into those things before? You could easily say that. So, I do get the aspect of Jacob thinking, well, I only had that past life because night fighting was like kind of on my mind, and that's what I'm obsessed with anyway. But you got to look at it the other way too. It's not just so set in stone like that.
And that's why I'm saying I'm unclear, honestly, even with my logic brain, and even with all, like, I honestly don't know.
That says a lot though,
it.
Jacob, because you seem like a pretty, again, skeptical guy, healthy skepticism. And for you to say that says a lot as to like what you experience was quote unquote real,
It was crazy, bro. The sounds, the smells, the taste of the food.
How long does it
like,
last?
The whole thing. As long as you wanted to. I think ours lasted for like 2.5, maybe.
2.5 hours. Yeah.
2.5 hours?
Everybody's different too. And what's really crazy about it is that you don't know how long you're in there. Just the same as like, you could have a whole life happen in a dream that you're taking a nap on your couch for 15 minutes. Yep. It's the same thing in this realm to where, you know, you'll go through the entire life. I take you through the death process. You get to see what it's like. You know, the moment that you die, like, are you able to look down at your body? Where do you go whenever you die? Are you met by any kind of entities or beings whenever you die? And then I, you know, like get to ask the higher self certain questions, which is pretty crazy. I think that's going on there, but there's a lot of wild that goes on in these, but it is so fascinating trying to figure out where all of this information is coming from. You know, like what I was talking about earlier, as far as like the questions at the end. So what I do is that I take you through a past life, take you through the death process, and then what happens is that I'm talking to your subconscious mind or your higher self.
How do you know someone's not bullshitting you though, Jonathan? Like, how do you know they're not just making stuff up?
Because it's not for me, it's for them. And so if they're bullshitting, they're just bullshitting themselves. I don't really care if they're lying personally. Like that's it's not for me. So
he's been doing this 250 times. If somebody's just coming up with random shit off the wall, I'm like, okay, he's still going through the meditations and he's still, you know, asking the questions.
This is so crazy, bro. I kind of want to do it, but I'm scared.
Oh no, don't be scared, brother. Nothing about this is scary. Have you ever done like a guided meditation?
No, I've never done any of that.
Okay, long story short, he would have you close your eyes. He would ask you to picture some stuff. He would kind of, before you know it, you follow and just kind of do what he's telling you to do, thinking wise. Your eyes are closed, you're laying down, you're comfortable.
And your body's asleep.
Yeah. Your body, and for the record, it's not like you feel like you've left your body. You're very present. Like you're cool. If something was to come up and slap you, like you would respond accordingly. Like it's not like you're in a, you know, you're transcending these things. You're very aware of what's up, but you're more or less just describing what you're seeing and explaining the situation. And he's not trying to tell you, you know, what you're seeing.
Yeah.
He's asking you what you're seeing. You're just answering with what you're hearing, where you are, like what's around you, this type of
whatever it is that you're experiencing. I'm just asking questions. And the worst thing that, you know, a past life regression practitioner can do is lead you and suggest certain things. That's like, now I'm trying to create your story. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just asking questions, trying to get as many details as possible. Are you a man? Are you a woman? What color are the clothes that you're wearing? Are you wearing any shoes? You know, what do you see around you? Who are the people you're communicating with? What are the scenes of what's happening in that particular moment? I can take you and move you to an important day. Dude, a lot of stuff happens within those. It is freaking fascinating. But what I was going back to saying is that 99% of people that have a past life regression, I ask them, I say, all right, before you look at the clock, how long do you think that lasted? And almost everybody guesses that it's under an hour. 30, 40 minutes is like the usual answer. And then I'm like, all right, you think it's 30, 40 minutes? Look up at the clock. And it's always an hour has gone by, 2 hours have gone by, 3 hours have gone by. And because it's the mind, you know, the mind. It's like it doesn't care so much about time. Like time is only for this physical reality. So I don't know. It's pretty cool, dude.
So when you say that, right, the mind is going crazy. You said releasing the mind, right, and letting it do what it does. Is the mind the same thing as consciousness? Like, can we say that? Is that a thing? Is mind and consciousness the same?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So I would say that they're, you know, they're neighbors for sure. But like whenever you go and meditate, you know, the goal is to not give any of your emotion or any of your attention to your thoughts. Your mind is generating those thoughts, and it's up to you whether you latch onto them or if you don't. And so the idea is that I always try and come up with, like, whenever I'm trying to go into a meditation, I imagine that I'm like this old dude sitting on a porch in my rocking chair, and I'm just watching traffic go by. But each car that goes by is an individual thought. And I can choose to look at that car, and I can choose to observe that car and observe that thought. But if I'm trying to get to the meditative state, I know that I just got to let that car go. You know, maybe take a little look, whatever. Maybe it's a cool car. But for the most part, you're trying to let all thoughts go, because that is the monkey mind. Like, that is that's the thing that thinks that it knows everything. And so you're trying to detach from that. And Dolores Cannon and a lot of other people who are into this hypnosis, they'll say that you have a left brain and a right brain. And that left brain is more your calculated type of brain where whatever you need that helps keep you logical is your left brain, right? It's your analytical brain. Where your right brain, and this is why most women are so much easier to hypnotize than men. It's not even funny. But the reason is, and the reason why men and women don't get along oftentimes, is because women are more right-brained, men are more left-brained. We're more analytical, we're more logical, where they're more emotion-driven. Yeah. And so I'm trying to get you to that emotional-driven state to where you're not necessarily worried, oh, well, I'm just thinking about this. It's not logical that I'm actually seeing this. I'm trying to cancel that part out of you. So it is the mind, but it's a piece of the mind. It's not the whole mind.
No, because the reason I say is because, if consciousness is this interdimensional thing, right, that's able to just go throughout time, ignore the boundaries of everything, and then attach itself to, the crusade, Jacob, and do whatever it does, and then you're able to bring it back. Like that makes sense to me. I got I think it was an email one time or something or other from some lady, or I think it might have been a DM. Anyways, she said that I was it was an astrologer. She did a reading for me, like an in-depth reading. And she said that in a past life, I could have been an alchemist. And again, I'm into the occult and I'm into all this other stuff. And my signs lined up with something about like fire and all this other stuff. So like that would probably be interesting. But like, the fact that this is a thing, bro, that you're able to, and a part of me, the logical side is anyone can make up a good story. We were mentioning earlier, like it's all about good storytelling. The mind can make anything. Like when you're in a float tank, right? When you're in a sensory deprivation tank, which I've done that, your mind goes wild.
Oh, yeah.
Right. You're like in this endless void. You're just floating there and you start to detach yourself from your body. Like you're just a floating head essentially. And I've been into like deep space. I've been at the bottom of the ocean. I've been through I've been through all those places in that. And how you said, dude, as soon as you book a 3-hour float session and then all of a sudden you see the tank light up on the inside, it's over. Bro, what?
Yeah. I've always wanted to do that.
I was only in there for 5 minutes. What are you talking about? It's already over. So, again, I find it super fascinating. But the fact that people are able to stuff and what I've always found so amazing is people who can create entire universes, like the Game of Thrones universe, the Star Wars universe, the Star Trek. There are people in our reality, in our time, who can create other alternate reality with straight up lore. Look at the guy from Lord of the Rings making an entire language, right? Tolkien making an entire language. So the fact that people can do that, that's why I'm asking, like, how you're saying if they're doing it for themselves. So if they are bullshitting you, it doesn't matter to you. But for, the something that people always go public with, either a Bigfoot sighting or an alien abduction or like a UFO sighting, people can make that shit up. I've seen 50 UFOs, guys.
But there's a lot of things that you would admit are absolutely real that you absolutely cannot prove. So, for example, and I'll give you an example, is like if you just told me a dream, I could choose to accept that you're actually telling me, what actually happened in that dream. There's no way of me knowing that, but you experienced that. Yeah. So, and the same thing of if you got kids, right? Like you can say, I love my kids. Well, how do you prove that? I mean, you can prove it through actions and prove it through always being there, but how do you prove that you emotionally feel love? Like, how do you prove that Wi-Fi is all around us? It's like, you can't see it. Like a lot of this is, it is illogical, but that doesn't mean that it's fake.
You bring up a good point. Like the wind is there, you can feel it, but you can't see it. I mean, that's something that we can all agree on. And I think
you can only see it if it's up against something else.
And the one, there was a quote, I think, is reality is we're all constantly hallucinating, but reality is whenever we all can collectively agree on the hallucination. Reality, and let me look it up here.
Subjective reality at that point. Yeah.
So reality is the world as it is. Well, Anil Seth, this is the guy. So reality is a controlled hallucination, is what he said, and he has another quote. It's longer than that, where he's like,
which is crazy that would determine reality, because they have done like group trips where a group of people will get on some kind of psychedelic and they're all collectively experiencing the same thing. So does that prove that they were in a different reality if everybody is experiencing the same thing within their own mind? What's that then?
But that's also extremely hard to accomplish.
But it does happen.
It does happen. I'm not saying like, oh, well, no. It is a real thing that has happened. But I don't even know what the success rate for that is. I mean, they have groups that do ayahuasca retreats, right? Every weekend they have another group goes out, and it is rare that even more than one person experience the same thing like that.
Yeah,
but it does happen.
Yeah. I mean, I've never experienced it, but I believe that it does happen. And it's like, those stories are what really get me, dude. Whenever it's like, we think that the reality that they're explaining is a subjective reality, but if multiple people are reporting talking to the same being, and oh yeah, you remember whenever I told you go f yourself whenever we were over there, that was funny, and the other person be like, oh yeah, f you too, or whatever. But they're basically like, how could they have known? Like, some people, there was a podcast, and I can't remember his name, but he was recently on the Joe Rogan show less than a month ago. And he was going into the idea of like remote viewing and like that. But basically, they were trying to, it was him and somebody else that was working as a contractor for the government or something like that. But they put themselves in two separate rooms and they went to try and meditate. It wasn't even a trip. It was just a meditation. And they knew where to go. And they were like, I don't remember exactly where it was. It could have been a base on the moon for all I know, or somewhere in some desolate region. There's no way that you would be able to have a full-on conversation, see the same exact things, remember everything, and then bring it back before those two ever even get the opportunity to see each other. So what they'll do is they'll put them in two separate rooms, they'll record what they saw, and then after they record, they reconvene and say, this is what I saw, what did you say, or what did you see? And that is how they're able to like essentially prove that, people aren't bullshitting and lying, because they were separate. Like, it was a controlled environment at that point. So I don't know what to do with that. I would love to experience that one day. That would be really awesome. But I mean, it is a real thing, dude. I think it's just a practice thing, though.
So Anil Seth said, we're all hallucinating all the time. When we agree about our hallucination, we call it reality. And I've heard stories like what you guys are talking about. I had a friend of mine who did an ayahuasca retreat in somewhere in South America, or I don't remember where. And I'm going to take as
one does. Yeah.
As one does. And I'm going to take his word for what he told me. But he said that when they would be in the group after, there was a girl that mentioned something about like, pretty much she was alluding that she was going to be abducted, right, by these entities. Like, and she described them. And there was another person in the group that was like, man, I hated those things. They kept trying to get me. They kept trying to take me as well. And one of the girls had experienced being taken by what, again, she had described. And then the other person had to kind of agree, like, I saw them and they were trying to they didn't get to her. But again, this sort of shared hallucination, is it like, again, do these substances, because I was upset, bro. Like, look at this Rogan shirt. Like, I was obsessed with psychedelics when I first started like podcasting, because it's one of those things that it's so amazing how you can hypnotize people and take them through these past life regression. So amazing that you can take this thing that grows from the ground, or even right DMT, that is something that you could prepare yourself with, like regular household items and things, right? And you take that and you blast off into this other thing, or what you're perceiving as is another place. Like, that concept to me led me to grow my own psilocybin, like study mycology and do all this other stuff. And then when I finally took it, I saw demons. It was the craziest thing. And I took it at the peak of 2020. And it's funny because I was trying to find, I had so my keyboard, I had 7 fingers, by the way, like when I was like tripping my balls off. I was playing World of Warcraft as it was coming up, right? Like I ate a peanut butter sandwich with honey and the dried mushrooms in it. And I was playing World of Warcraft with my friends. We were like on Discord or something. And when it started to kick in, like the visuals were like crazy, and I couldn't stop laughing. Like it got to the point where I was gonna throw up from like laughing so hard. Mm-hmm. And my friends already knew it had kicked in. They're like, "This dude's laughing his ass off." I'm like, "Bro, I'm having a great time." Until I wasn't, and the visuals just got way too like, World of Warcraft. We're running like dungeons, and there's like flame beings, and I'm like, I can't. So I got off, and I was trying to find. At one point when I logged off of World of Warcraft, I looked down. I kept seeing 6 fingers, not 7, 6 finger. I kept seeing an extra digit. Every time I looked down, I kept seeing an extra digit, and I like shake it off with my hand. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I looked at my keyboard, and my keyboard was like endless towards this way, endless towards that way, and the keys were like not a Nokian, but some sort of like Mandalorian. You ever seen like the writing in Mandalorian where it's like, it looked like that. This is the first time ever I had done anything like this, right? My curiosity led me to like this point where here I was hiding the mushrooms from my wife in my closet, right? Growing them in this little grow bag and all this. And she found them at one point. She said, "What the hell are you doing?" I was like, "Hey, they're little, right? They're whatever." So then I had the whole setup, bro. I did the whole thing, and it led me to this point. And I'm trying to calm my mind because everything on the computer is screaming at me. Like I put on a Mars documentary, couldn't stand it. I put on all this. I put on Joe Rogan with Brian Callen.
Oh yeah. Shit.
Rogan had black eyes. He was a deep, like he had blacked out eyes. Like his eyes were black, and I'm watching them, and then when podcasts cut back and forth and like bop, 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 I couldn't keep up with like the cutting and the coming back and coming. I'm like, what? And they were speaking, but I couldn't understand what they were saying. And Brian Callen, when I saw him on the screen in this very seat that I'm sitting in, he looked like Baphomet. Like he had like the head of a donkey, like it was like this. And then he had 1, 2, like 3 set of eyes, black. And then I'd look away and I'd look back and it'd be Brian. Then he'd morph back into that demon. So I shut that off, dude. And the entire time I'm like, I'm having audio hallucinations too. I had earphones in, and my earphones felt like they were in my ears and in my head, like around my neck, like in my body, bro, where I had to take my headphones off. Right. So the only thing I could bear to watch was Our World on Netflix. I tried watching The Office. Demonic. Dwight, a demon. A demon, man. He was a demon. The whole cast, demonic. I was like, I'm turning this. The only thing I could bear to watch was Our World on Netflix, or Our Planet, or something like that. And I remember watching this, and some episodes are the ocean, other episodes are like the Arctic, and they show like the little baby seal, and then they showed a sea lion eating the baby seal, or no, it was a baby seal, and then a polar bear eating the baby seal's head, and I'm like tripping my dick. I'm like, oh my god!
Is this the one that Morgan Freeman is narrating?
I think so. No, it was like
if you're ever in a bad trip, the voice of Morgan Freeman would be the thing to calm you down.
It was an English. I want to say it was an English guy. He had an act. I don't remember. I have to look it up. But I'm watching this, and I'm thinking,
you're watching a nature documentary to calm down. Then you watch a polar bear murk a baby seal.
Because that's
like,
the
oh
way
my
it
God,
starts,
never mind.
bro. That's the way it started. It would start with like, oh, look at this beautiful ocean and this little baby penguin swimming around. Here comes the sea lion. And then it would show like the predator aspect. Boom, demolished it. And then I remember seeing the elephant seals.
Mm.
And they zoomed into the elephant seals. But every time I would see a group of animals, I would see the group of animals, but endlessly. Like in a cartoon when like there's something coming at it and it's like endless and it's like coming at you like that. Like it never ends. All the fish, they kept like swirling back. I'm like, why the f are there so many? When they showed the elephant seals and they showed the landscape, it was endless elephant seals as far as the eye could see. And I'm like, why the f are there so many elephant seals? What is happening? And then they show them, right, these elephant seals. They're all migrating and the elephant seals are climbing up on these mountains and these cliffs higher and higher because of global warming. Because humanity is and whatever humanity and humans touch, they destroy. And my mind starts telling me myself that we're destroying, we're death. And these elephant seals are climbing higher and higher, trying to get colder and colder. It's a 2-ton animal. So it gets to a point where there's not enough room on the cliff for them, and they start pushing each other off. So you're watching this 2-ton animal on this documentary tumble to its death. Boom, hitting every rock down, blood out of its mouth, and I'm tripping my balls off, dude. I'm like, I start crying, bro. I was bawling. We're doing this to the elephant seals. Like, this is the craziest. Like,
Cut to your wife walks in the room like, babe, what are you doing?
No, dude, so the funny part,
babe.
the funny part was I went out to my living room and I have a fish tank. And I'm putting my hand on the glass and I'm like, why am I doing this to you? Like I have an arowana that's like huge because he's killed everybody in the tank, or he ate everyone. And I'm like, why am I doing this to you, bro? Like I'm like crying to my fish in my living room. Like, why? You know, because again, the mushrooms were telling me like, you know, we need to be better humans. Like it made me reflect internally of things that I was doing at the time, you know, certain things. Honestly, it changed my life. Like I had like a crazy, crazy trip, but it changed my like, it made me appreciate life. And at 3 a.m, right? Cause I did this at
the like witching hour.
11 o'clock. Yeah. I started at 11 o'clock and I tripped my balls off to like 6 a.m. At 3 a.m, I had texted my wife, are you awake? Because I wanted a hug. So the next day,
it's the great teacher for a reason,
bro. It was the craziest. The next day, she's like, why'd you text me? I was like, oh, yesterday I took mushrooms. She's like, oh, so you were tripping. I was like, yeah, I needed a hug. But towards the end of my trip, I started watching Prometheus, the alien movie. Oh my God, bro. Like, it's the craziest thing. Like when I was coming down from the trip, I wasn't like peaking, but when I was peaking, it like came in these waves and I kept hearing like, I don't know. I want to say it was the universe, or I don't know what it was that was telling me like different aspects of my life that I needed to fix. So if you ever not want to hear about like the bad things that you do in your life, don't take mushrooms, because they will reveal to you what you are neglecting or like what you're failing to face. And that was the first and only time I've done mushrooms. And I have the utmost respect for the substance, for these little aliens essentially that grow, because again, they will show you things. And again, I didn't believe in any of that shit, bro. I was like, this is crazy. And again, I was like 24 years old. I had never smoked weed. I started smoking weed when I started podcasting, right? Like, again, I started doing all these things because you listen to Rogan and you listen to all these guys, and then you get sucked into it. And hey, curiosity killed the cat. And sometime it was at the peak of 2020, right? In like April, when everything was like getting shut down. And I was like, yo, if I have a psychotic break and I have to go to the hospital, I'm going to get sick and I'm going to die. So that just drove my anxiety even more. But honestly, the entire time I had like the worst anxiety you could ever have. And it would like come in, I could feel it, bro. It would like calm down. I was like, oh. And then I could feel the wave coming back. I was like, and I kept telling, I'm like, no, 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 please no. And then it would just be like, holy shit. Like I could see like, I don't know what I was seeing, bro. I could like feel the universe like at the peak of the craziest shit. And it was like, oh, and then it would let me go. And I was like, I remember I was like talking to myself. I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here. Like, I want this to stop. But there was like that little voice that was like, no, you wanted to be here. Now we're in it.
Yeah, buddy.
Now there's no turning back. And it was just
wave, man,
ringing me the whole night. And I'm like, I just want to, these animals, man. Like, what are, we're killing the elephant seals. And again, it changed my life, bro. And the next day, I was like in between the two realities a little bit. Like when I woke up, and it made me like, I remember looking at my kids and I'm like, are you real? I wanted to make sure that they weren't like a hallucination. I'm like, are you? Man. And I could feel like a sense of appreciation. It's the weirdest. Like I can't even describe it. But
it is potent, powerful, and not for the weak at mind, for sure. Like if you got that you got to work on, it can be a very powerful tool in that sense. Like if you're looking for some kind of answers, what do I want deeply internally? What do I want out of my life? Am I supposed to be with this person? Am I supposed to be doing this job? Should I stop hanging around these friends or whatever, right? Like it'll show you, dude, and it'll show you in very, very graphic ways because your emotions will manifest. That's the craziest thing about, psychedelics is that whatever you're thinking, you almost see. And it almost feels like the mushrooms are trying to get you to see something specifically, but it's just because the mushrooms in your mind are so interwoven like DNA strands at that point, and so they're like feeding off of each other. And so, yeah, I mean, if you go into like any kind of psychedelic trip in a bad mood, bro, good luck in there. Like it is going to be horrific. You're going to learn a lot of shit about yourself in there. There's no doubt about that. And the same thing with like DMT and 4-ACO DMT and whatever. But like all of these different psychedelics, dude, they're magical. Like that's why they're magic mushrooms. Like you talked about like how basically it's like you said the curiosity killed the cat. Right. But it's like, but then that cat was reborn. It was almost like a little baptism. That's the way I felt too. Cause I had like an ego death with DMT at one time and it's nuts. It does change your life though.
It did, dude. And I don't want to go back to that place, man. I'll be honest with you. People are like, oh, you just had a bad trip. Just do it again. Nope. Like you can have fun with that. Like, unless you're going to do it in a sort of controlled environment. Like I have a buddy of mine that lives in Jamaica and he does because it's good for rehab and stuff, right? Like it's a medicine, and he does guided trips where they give people, but there's somebody there taking it. I was alone, dude, in my room on a Friday night, at 11 o'clock at night, where I thought was fun. My friends were egging me on Discord, like, yeah, dude, take it. You're gonna be fine. And I wasn't.
I mean, it depends on how much you're taking, if you're just trying to have, like, you're trying to see pretty colors and be put in a good giggly kind of mood, then, just take a cup, like a gram or, 2 grams or something like that.
Like microdosing is how I stopped drinking.
Yeah, it helps, man.
Really?
Yeah. I was bad off with alcohol for a good while there. And I wouldn't say I was like, a raging alcoholic or any of that stuff, but it was to a point to where it was affecting my day-to-day negatively. Right. And yeah. And so instead of coming home and cracking a beer, I would come home and take like 2 mushrooms, which for me, I have a very high tolerance as far as psychedelics goes. So,
Narc. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, 2 was enough for me. And I would, see like the colors would get a little more vibrant, but I was still able to like handle like life, what was going on around me. I wasn't just like sitting there just zenned out looking at the wall. I was doing what I normally would do. Now, I wasn't like driving. I was responsible, you know what I mean? But I was still cooking dinner. I was still doing whatever I was doing. And it caught me to quit drinking because when you drink with that, it kills the psychedelic effects.
Oh, wow.
So like, why would I cut this short? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it would wear off by the time I was going to bed. Again, it was a microdose. So yeah, after you do that for about, 2 months, 3 months, whatever the case is, it's not like I just have this burning desire to go trip balls again. Although like I could if I wanted to. I don't have a desire to. And it also got it to where, because that's the thing, when you have somebody that is addicted to something, they constantly want more of it. And after 2 months of not having a sip of alcohol, I was like, I don't actually want alcohol. I don't even want to, I don't need it. I don't, it's not enjoyable like it once was when I was 20. You know what I mean? It definitely helped break the cycle. And then it's not like mushrooms were a thing where I felt like I just needed them too. When the time came and I realized that they had served their purpose, I just put them down. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, they're freaking awesome, dude, but definitely not to be abused. Like that's something that, like, whenever I trip, I mean, at most, I'll trip like once every 4 months, but I'm not doing them back to back. And to be honest with you, like my first time tripping, I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. And I experienced like some wild, right? And so I was like, oh, I want to go back there. I want to check it out. It was like a really good trip. And I felt like I garnered like a lot of knowledge and from it. And I tried going back there like 2 or 3 days later. You have to allow your system to like recuperate a little bit because it starts not being as potent after a while, and you could even double the dosage. You could even double the dosage, and it's like you're not necessarily going to get to where you were. It has to be like a once every so often kind of thing. Like I haven't tripped since the summer, and I'm good for the next couple of months at least.
I haven't tripped since 2020, and I'm not going back, boys. The psychonaut life is not for me, and it's like. Yeah, I took 2.8 grams, and when I told my friend, I was like, that's a decently, for a first timer, that's a lot. That's
a solid dose, yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, yeah, you're lucky, some people wake up, naked in their room, crying on the floor, wrapped up in their blanket because they're just seeing some crazy shit. And it didn't get to that point for me, but definitely cried. I talked to my fish a lot. I cried over it. I apologized to him, because I had him in the fish tank. And it's wild, man. But
that's hilarious.
Experience wild in there, dude. I talked to Sekhmet, and I talked to your boy Ronnie Pontiac about it, and I didn't know it was Sekhmet, but basically like this cat being like a cat person. And he goes, "Oh yeah, that was Sekhmet." I was like, "What the?" Like, how did my mind know that?
Hold on. Now this is the third different version of what that cat being was. Tell me what Sekhmet is.
No, it's the same thing.
No, I'm saying like we've heard somebody say it was this type of being. Then somebody else said, no, that's not. It's not a Lemurian. What was the other one they had said? It was a.
I know what you're talking about.
We've had people come on and say, oh no, the cat beings. Oh, that's totally this. What is Sekhmet?
Sekhmet was basically this ancient Egyptian goddess, and her dad was one of the guys. I don't remember. I don't know all the characters in Egypt, but of Osiris or something like that.
Sure.
But Sekhmet, and basically it was like a cat person kind of deity thing, and this one was like very dangerous and what had like a bloodlust and like would go around killing people just because she wanted to get high off of their blood and all that. But it was known that she was a bit of a scarlet
whore.
And yeah. And so whenever I was tripping, I was especially going through like a bad time in my life, and she came and like started cuddling up on me in my bed, bro. Like I felt her body up against me. I felt her
demons.
Her actual purring vibrating up against my body. And so, I said that to Ronnie, and I was like, dude, it was so strange because for some reason I'm going through this very hard time, and she's like basically trying to be there for me. But I felt so bad because I was getting horny from it. I was like, dude, get your mind out of the gutter for 1 second. Just appreciate it for what it is. He goes, oh no, yeah, that was Sekhmet. Like that's the effect that she has. And I was like, what? That's like a real thing. And then you find out the story of Sekhmet, where basically Osiris or whoever it was, basically he was like, well, look, you're going around and you're killing everybody. And he was like, there's not going to be anybody left to be able to worship me anymore. And so he tricked her into drinking this other kind of blood-like substance.
Probably.
And I don't know. It was
Probably.
red. But anyway, so she went down and drank it, and then she evolved into this other character known as Hathor. and Hathor is supposed to be, you know, like this loving, kind goddess lady. So basically it's like the dichotomy of the two things. And I don't know, crazy story. I mean, those Egyptian stories are wild.
Yeah.
A lot of those Mediterranean pagan pantheons are wild. As the Greeks, the majority of the stories are Zeus not being able to keep it in his pants, right?
Yes.
The Romans, it's mostly Jupiter not being able to keep it in his pants. You look at the entirety of the Egyptian lore, like it's wild. I've gone on about how Thoth got his cum crown from Seth and Horus and that whole debacle, and it's wild. And I'm not saying that in a demeaning way. I'm saying that, like, yeah, those pantheons tend to be very sexually driven, character arcs,
Stories.
if you will.
It's just the mythology of them. And, you know, the goal in my mind, I like to look at everything esoterically. So do I think that there actually was a CAD person? No, I don't. I'm not going to sit here and assume that those people believe that she actually was a real person or whatever. They probably did.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I like looking at it for the esoteric understanding of it. And whenever you think about, like, what do these people represent as symbols? And so if you look at the Sekhmet and the Hathor dichotomy, basically it kind of is like your left brain versus your right brain. That one that is addicted to this material realm just needs more materialistic, you know, addicted to sex, addicted to whatever kind of substance. And then the other one, who she evolved to be, was this, you know, very loving kind of loving queen goddess type of thing. And so I don't know. I like the esoteric understanding of it personally. I don't know if that's the correct way to look at it, but that's the way I interpret it.
Boys, any closing thoughts on this episode before we get the out of here?
Kind of bounced all over on this one, honestly.
Yeah, we did. Well, look, you know,
It's
if you're trying to find the Cult of Conspiracy podcast, you like the things that we had to say here. This is not typically the kind of conversations that we have, but we do get a little weird from time to time. But if you are interested in any kind of conspiracies, we get into some of the esoteric kind of from time to time, but we like to stick to the conspiracies. We actually just did a show yesterday on John Teeter, who was a time traveler. That was a lot of fun. But we stay up to date with a lot of things that are going on in the world and politics and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, we actually are releasing 11 shows a week, sometimes 2 a day.
Holy shit.
We're basically trying to build like this network. And so we have Josh Monday on the show, Cosmic Peach on the show, Strange Brew comes on the show. We just got the White Rabbit on the show, and amongst others that are to come as well. So if you just want to be surrounded by conspiracy every single moment of your life, I promise you, you will not get bored. You're never going to run out of anything. I think we're on like episode 700 or something by now. I don't even know what we're up to now, but
Coming up on 8, dog. We are rapidly approaching 8.
Coming up on 8. So if that's something that you're into, come check us out at Cult of Conspiracy Podcast, or the podcast Cult of Conspiracy. We're also on Instagram at Cult of Conspiracy Podcast. And if you're interested in listening to our video content, get the shows a couple of days in advance, completely commercial free, and you get to join us every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Central. We have a live show, and that is for the Patreon members that are on the Third Eye All the Way Open tier. And those Tuesday night shows, guns be getting wild over there. It is all over the place. And what's awesome about that is that we like to intertwine all of the good cult members out there. So if they have any kind of question, or they want us to look into something, they want our opinion on something, it's we work together on that show, and it's a really fun time. So yeah, Juan, man, we appreciate you having us on the show, dude, and you're always a pleasure to talk to, sir.
Yeah, definitely not the average show, but who cares, man? We're here to have fun. I had a ton of fun today. I appreciate you guys joining me. And yeah, make sure to follow me over on my side of things, www.tjojp.com, patreon.com/the101podcast. Make sure to sign up if you don't like the ads and all that stuff. Are ad-free, same old thing, right? We just got demonetized on YouTube. It doesn't look like we're going to be monetized for a while. So come support the show. Come have a good time. And thank you guys again for joining me. This was super fun. And as always, everyone will catch you on the next one. Bye.